Hi, I'm Mashup, and welcome to the Hot Seat. The Hot Seat is an open and honest interview with guests from all different professional backgrounds talking about their careers, personal lives, the parts in between, and what keeps them going. So, without any further ado, my guest on this edition of the Hot Seat is recently turned professional boxer Frankie Storey. Frankie has had a career span of 10 years as an amateur and feels ready now to take that next step in his career as a professional. He has had a total of 60 fights, with winning 50 of those fights.
How are you?
Good, thank you, Frankie.
Good.
How are you?
Very well, man.
Welcome
Very
to the
well.
Hot Seat.
Cheers.
Thank you for coming on.
No problem, man.
So, how's it all been for you? I mean,
Yeah,
the
it's been
past
crazy.
year, the lockdown and.
Well, yeah, with lockdown, I'd say it's been obviously the hardest because no one's sort of like accessible to any training. But I was at Finchley Boxing Club before I turned professional. Before that, I was at Luton Town Boxing Club, and before that, I was at Farley Hill Boxing Club, which is in Luton. So I had a 10-year amateur career, and I enjoyed every single part of it. But with COVID, I'd say it's probably been the hardest. Obviously, lack of fights, lack of training.
And how's it affected you personally then? I mean, it's been a tough time for everyone. I mean, it's affected a lot of people. I think we're seeing the rise in mental health and, whatnot. And, but how's it really, affected you on a sort of personal level?
On a personal level, I'd say it's affected me. To be honest, I've been able to train, but on the mental health, on a note on that, I'd say I can understand how everyone else is feeling because it feels like you're trapped, and you can't go out to socialise, you can't go out and do your thing. That was the same as me with the boxing. Obviously, not being able to fight and see other people in the boxing community. I was only with my trainer and myself. So yeah, probably the hardest thing would probably be just like the lack of fights and training. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go right back, Frankie, to when you were growing up.
Okay.
So my first question to you is, what does growing up sport mean to you?
I'd probably say there's a lot of things, like the mental side of sport, the physical side of sport, and obviously the social side of sport. The mental side of sport has got to be, like the discipline, in my terms, through boxing, and that would probably be because of you got to be in the gym 5-6 days a week. You're having like 1 day rest, and the social side of thing is you're meeting all different new people. From all ethnic backgrounds and all from all different communities, I'd say, yeah.
It's interesting you say that, discipline, because boxing is an interesting sport. And I find that, it does teach a lot of discipline, in particular with young people.
Yeah.
Why is that, do you think?
Because you have to be at training at certain times. And in a boxing gym, it's not like, it's just you. You're there representing yourself. You're there representing what could be a big future down the lines if you stick at it. So you're representing yourself, and a trainer's always on your back. It's a one-man sport. Yeah, it's not like football where you've got 10, 12, 11, whatever it is in football. People looking after you. If you mess up, like it's on you. Then people can't pick up the pieces for you, neither can the trainers, So, yeah, man.
And how did this boxing journey start off? How did it come into your life, boxing?
So I'm actually from a boxing background. My dad had 100 I couldn't even tell you, over 100 amateur fights, and he won multiple national titles, boxed for Young England, boxed in big major competitions internationally, and he was a big standout in his day, like in the amateurs, and obviously I'm his son. I come into the boxing game behind him, but before that I was playing football, I was playing a lot of football, and one day my dad said, why don't you have a go at boxing? And I never looked back, just got straight in there, and that was it.
And how did your love for the sport grow? So how did you find your love for it? How did it develop?
I'd say I developed it. Everything starts off slow. You go in the gym, you think you're the top guy, and then you soon realise there's people above you, and the love for it I'd probably say is There's a lot. There's so many things that I could say that I'm in love with the sport with, but yeah, it's definitely just seeing yourself grow, like as a person. Yeah. So in school, I wasn't a class clown, but I wasn't always dedicated to my schoolwork. I was always probably up for the laugh class clown, but yeah, um, yeah. I'd say the love for the sport would probably be getting out there and developing as a person, and obviously trying to climb through the ranks as an amateur. I've seen so many people go from nothing to something through boxing, and yeah, that's what I always wanted to do. Like that was the love for it. Like just be in the gym, be around good people, and just become a better person. So.
And obviously, in your amateur days, you spent 10 years as an amateur.
Yep.
You've had in that time 60 fights with winning 50 of those.
Yeah.
So do you now feel ready to take that next level in the professional ranks?
100%. I think I was just shy of 60 fights as an amateur, and I think I lost around 10 or 12. I didn't lose many. I lost them in major sort of nationals and a few shows abroad. I definitely think it's time for me to take next step, mainly because I'm 22. For me, it's sort of like an apprenticeship thing. You go and do your apprenticeship, you learn your craft, you learn your trade, then bam. I got approached by a friend of mine, Michael Devine, and he said there was a manager looking for fighters, and he's also a trainer. So I went down there, took the chance, went down there, seen him, and I was happy with what I seen. And here I am, just about to take over, man.
And you were also, obviously, as an amateur as well, you were on the WBC amateur program.
Yeah.
So that involved a lot of, going abroad, places like Mexico, Spain, and Belgium. What was that experience like for you? Tell us.
Yeah, unreal. So you've got two. So in amateur boxing, you've got two sides. Okay, you've got England boxing and the Alliance. In the end, our club Finchley, they went back to England boxing, but for a few years we were with the Alliance, and they set up a program which was against like Olympic boxing, things like that. So what happened there was I got picked for the England team, WBC team, and we flew to Mexico twice. When we went to Monterrey, we went to Mexico City, competed out there, and then I got picked to box in Spain. And then they had a return match here. So yeah, I boxed against like 2 countries through that scheme. And that was just, probably the best thing you probably could do as an amateur, like in my eyes. Go halfway across the world and represent your country. And yeah, like couldn't ask for a better career, really.
Yeah,
like,
no, it sounds wonderful, and it sounds like you've really had quite the journey as an amateur. Obviously, as you've said, you've been abroad, you've been fighting here as well, and in that time you've won regional titles as well. What was that experience like for you, winning your first regional title? You must have felt very nice. It must have felt like all the training that you've done over the years, like it's all coming together now.
Of course.
What was that like for you?
I'd say when you're starting out, you're always looking at the people who are in the region. Okay, so you're thinking, who's him from Cheshunt, Hoddesdon. You're always looking at the best people in the weights. Now, they're your competition. So when you're training, you're not just thinking about hitting the bag. You're thinking about beating these people for the title. And that's how I used to get through the training sessions, and that's how I probably set myself to win, was think about, I want to be the best in the region. I don't want to be just the bog standard guy, go in there, win a few fights, go away. I wanted to be the top kid in the region, then let everyone know who you are. That was the main thing. Like, let everyone know like you're a statement in that region, and then boom, then your name starts going out. Oh, he's done this. He's beaten him. Like, that was the main thing for me, just trying to climb up bit by bit. I never actually got to win a proper ABA title. I was always shy of like the semi-finals or the quarters. But I still gave it a great go, and I'm pretty sure there was a few heads like along the way that I beat, and I'll always remember them people that I was beating for the rest of my days, you know.
Yeah, no, but it's fantastic though,
Yeah, man.
because you've still gone out there, and even though you made it even to the quarterfinal,
That's
you
it,
know,
man.
it's still an experience, and it's building up to who you're going to be as a fighter when
Yeah,
you
man.
do go through the professional ranks.
Of course.
So obviously, as you've mentioned, you've been part of the Finchley setup as well.
Yeah.
And you've trained with the likes of obviously Anthony Joshua,
Yeah.
who trains there as well.
Yeah.
Has meeting other professionals, you know, developed your game as well and your craft?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, you're looking at these. You know, they are superstars. You know, these are people that you're seeing on TV. You know, you're seeing on billboards. You're seeing them, and you know they're hitting the bag next to you. They're getting coached next to you. So it's a massive. It is, especially when you're young. You know, it's a massive deal. You think I'm not too far away from these people. You know, they're literally there. So if he's doing it, why can't I do it? You know, it's massive inspiration. I'll probably say for all the kids in that club, and him just being there, giving advice to everyone. You know, he was wearing my T-shirt the other day. Like, he's just such an all-round like good guy, and he's supporting that club as much as he can. You know, especially with like the younger fighters. So.
And what do you love him about? What do you love about him the most?
Just down to earth, man. Just down to earth. You know, I think a lot of people now, they look at the people on the screens, and they think they've got to act in a certain way, especially with boxers. You know, I think there's a lot of stereotypes. You know, be the big macho man, but realistically, what you see on the cameras, yeah, right, we're hitting each other, we're trading shots, like bleeding, but the actual like personality behind the cameras is completely different, honestly, man. Yeah. So that's the main thing.
And what is your sort of in your time?
Yeah.
It's from when you're obviously 22 now.
Yeah.
And I know you've still got a long way ahead.
Yeah.
What is your sort of most memorable moment so far in your journey up until this point?
Most memorable, yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of memorable moments, I'd say. From a schoolboy, junior, youth, and a senior. You know, I boxed all the way through them years. I'd probably say definitely it's got to be Mexico. I went out there the first time. On my hand on heart, like I won the first time, yeah. I didn't, and I lost. I didn't get the decision. Then I flew out there again. Got a revenge, man. That was the best thing. Like flying halfway across the world, and not knowing you're going into a completely different country. Like there's a lot of things said about Mexico. So especially about their fighters. So many fighters like come out of there throughout the years.
Absolutely.
And you know they're ferocious. You know they're coming to knock you out. They're expecting like a little kid from Luton, you know, a little blonde kid coming over there trading shots with them. Like they're there to knock you out. And yeah, the second time I went out there, stopped him, second round, and that was in Mexico City in a massive open outdoor show. And I'll never forget it, man. Just ringing my mum and dad up on FaceTime, and I was just like, yeah, like I won, done it. Like I'm off, like going to celebrate, you know.
And obviously on that subject as well,
Yeah.
What have you had any sort of low moments where you've gone, no, you want to put the gloves down?
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. And
Yeah, man. We'll get a bit personal now. Yeah, we'll get a bit personal. Yeah. So like, yeah, man. There's been a good few times in my career where you know it hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows for me. Like what people don't see is people are only seeing the end product. Okay, they're only seeing what they're seeing in the ring. They're only seeing what they're seeing on social media, but they're not seeing that I go to work every day on a building site, laying bricks, trying to survive, and all that hard work is what I'm putting into the boxing, So obviously I've got my work life, my personal life, and my boxing life. So I've got to sort of juggle them all together. And obviously in my personal life, unfortunately I lost my mum like 2 years ago, in a tragic way. And
so sorry.
And that is my main motivation, man. Like, what happened to me was I was away, we got a phone call, you're gonna have to come home. And basically what happened was she wasn't fit to sort of go and survive. Okay, so I made a promise to my mum. Okay, and many people say, what are you doing like boxing for? The main thing that I'm doing it for, I made her a promise. Okay, now for me to sit here and say about all like the financial benefits of boxing. For me to say, oh, I don't want that, that'd be me lying. Okay. But the main reason I'm doing it, I made her a promise, yeah, and that promise was to win her a title. Now, whether that's Southern Area title, British title, European title, world title, yeah, that promise would mean more to me than any payday in the world.
No, it's
making me choke, because honestly, that's the main.
Yeah, no, I'm beginning to start to.
You know what I mean? That's the main thing I'm in this for. It's like that fulfilling that promise would mean more to me than any paycheck.
No, and
yeah, of course,
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, and I think when you set yourself a target, it generally motivates you more, especially in the world of boxing and the way the sport is. You know, like you said, it teaches you a lot of things, even about yourself, and you know, it gives you a sense of purpose, like how you've just said now about, you know, your mother's experience and whatnot. But how do you deal with setbacks then? Obviously, for example, with injuries and, you know, anything personal like that. What's your way of dealing with the setback?
Boxing's probably been the only thing to sort of get me through it. You know, I've had times where I've gone out and, you know, I haven't been massively dedicated to the boxing, and they were sort of in a long, like pretty much a long time ago, like 5 or 6 years ago. And I thought that was it. Like, I didn't really want to box anymore. I didn't have a purpose. You know, boxing gives you a purpose. That's my purpose. You know, getting up every day, do your training. It's a routine of things. Like, if you haven't got a routine, what are you here for? You'll just be wandering around, bumming around. And that's what, you know, referring back to COVID, routine. You know, you got to have a routine. You got to have the, you know, the focus and the goals of things. And that's
absolutely,
and that's the biggest thing for me, especially with boxing and everyday life. You know, having a routine and grinding away. Just keep doing what you're doing.
What is a typical day for you when you're training in the gym? What sort of training do you take on while you're training in the gym?
Okay, so I'd say typical everyday for me would be I wake up 6:30, have a breakfast, go to work. Okay. 7:30, I've got to be on the building site, and I work with a great bunch of lads, BBK Brickwork, love them to pieces, all of them. They're all following me, supporting me, and I'm laying bricks. I'm doing what I'm doing at work from 7:30 till 4:00. 4:00, usually it's around London. Jump straight on the motorway, go to Finchley, and that's it. Straight in the gym, and probably get in there, wrap my hands. We'll have a little warm up, get in the mirror, have a good shadow box, skip. Then Tony will obviously direct me on things that he wants me to work on, and then go on from there.
And I understand that obviously in all sports, and especially within boxing, diet is very important as well. Is there a sort of diet plan you follow as well while you're sort of, you know, when you're getting ready for a fight, for example, or when you're training? Do you follow that sort of, is there a pattern you sort of follow yourself?
Well, look, I'm going to be honest with you, like, I love peri-peri, you know, I love having, you know, I'm not a robot, you know what I mean? So, I love having a peri-peri, chocolate, everything like that, but obviously you've got to make a weight. There's certain weight categories that you've got to achieve to actually fight. So when it comes to boxing, I'm straight on a diet, and especially now I've turned into the professional ranks. I've got a nutritionist now, Paul O'Neill from Pro Nutrition. He's going to be monitoring me. So today, obviously, I had a body composition test, and he's going to help me like achieve the weights I need to get to. And the diet will probably just consist of, you know, low calories, a lot of veg, water, fats, proteins, and carbs. You know, just the usual thing. But yeah, in terms of when I'm not boxing, I love having like, you know, the odd Nando's or whatever. Like,
So that's your cheat meal, you're saying? You know,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But I think a lot of boxers are probably the same. Like, so it's definitely the hardest thing is definitely the food. It's not the actual fighting. It's got to be the diet.
It's got to be the diet.
Making the weight is the hardest one.
And obviously you've been in boxing as well for a long time.
Yeah.
So obviously growing up, who has been your biggest inspiration, whether that's in the sport itself or you know, Masood, I've got a few people who've been my inspirations.
number one, my dad, of course, and that's through life and through boxing. Obviously, he made a big statement as an amateur, very well known in the amateur game. But even in life, he's getting up. All I've ever known is him getting up at silly o'clock in the morning to go to work. And that's where I get my work ethic from, my father. And still to this day, he's still going to work. He's still doing this thing, and it's rubbing off on his children. When we were younger, we didn't have a lot, but like now, you look at us now, and it's like, yes, everything's starting to pay off. Like for my dad and for my family, and we'll always be like forever thankful for what he's doing for us. But another inspiration's got to be my friends. My friends, my friends, we're not so much friends. We're literally like a family. We're literally like brothers. We see each other all the time, and they've been pushing me since day dot. Since I started boxing, they've been the people pushing me to where I need to go. If I'm losing a bit of focus, now you need to go to the gym. You need to go get back into boxing. Go for your run. Like texting me every day. How's it getting on? And then obviously I've got a fighter. It's got to be probably Ricky Hatton.
Yeah,
definitely, man. Because just again his life story, and his fighting, of course. He never ducked no one. And his fighting style is very similar to mine. So
no, it's funny you say that, because he didn't. I mean, and he's been in the ring with some very big fighters, like you said. You've got the Manny Pacquiao's, the Floyd Mayweathers.
Yeah.
He's been there and experienced it all. So it's like you said. He I guess he has rubbed off on you, and even his his build up to towards the fights and stuff. It's lovely.
Yeah.
So how do you like to switch off then? What do you like to do in your spare time apart from boxing?
Of course.
How do you switch off?
I'm a massive music fan. Like I say, people will probably only look at me and think, he's just doing the boxing. Like, bricklaying's actually my passion. Like, that's actually my hobby. I love just laying bricks. I proper enjoy it. And my other passion is music. Like, massive house music fan, techno fan. And just being social and just literally having a great time, having a laugh. I wake up every day and just have a good time. Do you know what I mean? I don't really take a lot serious. As soon as you get into the boxing club, that's when things get proper serious. But a lot of people who know me, they'll realise every day is just a big joke, really. Swear to God, love it, mate. Oh, so to see.
No, you have to have a bit of outside work time.
That's
and obviously, from me getting to know you even now, you've been a grafter from such a young age.
Yeah, of course.
You have to be able to properly switch off.
Yeah.
So
I love switching off especially when I haven't got to, when I'm not boxing. Got to see my friends, got to see my family, and enjoy yourself, because we ain't robots. You know what I mean? We're humans as well. So, man.
And obviously, it's this is a big there's a big fight obviously happening ahead with obviously Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it as well. What do you think happens in that fight?
Everyone's thinking the same thing. What's gonna go down here. So I've seen Josh train in the gym. He's working hard day in, day out. Obviously I'm not at that gym no more, but I'll still keep in contact with Sean and stuff, and see how he's getting on. And he seems to be doing really well. But Tyson Fury's, he's on the back foot. He's a very tricky customer. And he's a great boxer. Whereas AJ, he's a great boxer, but he can bang. But the problem is, Fury, he proved it, didn't he?
He did.
He proved it, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
He's got power as well.
Yeah.
So it's 50-50. The promoters are going to love it. So
do you think the awkwardness of Fury can have an effect on Joshua? Because obviously he can box both orthodox and southpaw. So do you think that could maybe affect AJ's game slightly? Or
well, absolutely. But one punch. I know you're laughing, but one punch, that's all it takes. So I can't sit here and say what do I think, because I know myself. It just takes one punch at a certain time to just.
Can you give us a little prediction, or?
I ain't doing it. No, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it, man. I've got an Irish thing on, so, and I'm in the middle here. So, you know what I mean? So yeah. It's exciting, It's one of them things. It'll go down in history forever. Especially they're gonna have it's a 2-fight contract, I think it is, and it's history. You know, it's absolute history. Like whatever happens, it will go down for the rest of the day. So, you know, that's the main things to boxing. You know, that's what you'll bring it back to, the history things, the legacies. You know.
I've got another question for you, Frankie. So this is a bit more outside of boxing now. Can you give us 3 different things that people don't know about you already?
Oh no. 3 things that they don't know about me. Man, I don't even know myself. You know what I mean? I don't even know myself. Yeah, no, I don't know.
It can be absolutely anything. Doesn't have to be boxing related. It can be absolutely anything.
Mate, you bet. I don't know. I actually don't know. 3 things that people don't know about me. I think I'm taller than I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. This is getting too much. I don't even know. You'll probably see me dancing funnily at events if I'm not boxing.
Oh, so you're quite the dancer.
Well, not the dance. Well, I don't know about that. I ain't like a proper mad dancer, but yeah. And yeah, probably just. I don't know, man. I don't know. You got me in the spot here. I don't even know.
See, that's why.
Number 3, I can't have it.
All my guests that I've had previously before yourself, I've always had the same.
I love fishing.
Fishing.
Yeah, there you go.
What's your favourite fish?
Carp, of course, and I like pike fishing as well. But mate, yeah.
What do you enjoy about it most?
The getaway time, and obviously being out in the fresh air, nature, and just unwind. Yeah.
So, do you find that that's your sort of therapeutic way of just having time to yourself?
Of course, man. Yeah. You know, just get the rods out, chuck them out, sit there and think about life. You know, just reflect on what's going down in your life, whether it's personal work or everyday life. You know.
And I think we are going to see you fight this year.
Yeah.
I think your fight is potentially going to be scheduled for around July time. I think you're going through some tests and stuff now.
Yeah.
So what do we expect to see from Frankie Storey in the ring on his debut?
Well, let the games begin. That's what I'm going to say, man. Honestly, I'm going to bring fireworks. Honest. It's like I said. It's a lot more to me. It's not about the paychecks. It's not about the glitz, the glamour, and the fame. But I've got a mission to do in my head. You know, I've got a mission to achieve. So anyone in my way, move to the sides because I'm coming through. You're gonna see I'm an exciting fighter. I don't just box. I can have a tear up. I can box in the back foot, front foot. Just a typical scrapper. Let's go. If you want it, let's go. Yeah.
And in any division of boxing, this is past and present now.
Okay.
Who would you have loved to have fought?
Who would I love to fight? In any division?
In any division, any weight class.
Kawasaki, man. Probably Kawasaki. Just see if I'm up there with someone like him. Again, great boxer. Obviously, I'm nowhere near his weight, but yeah, definitely Kawasaki. He's a big standout in as an inspiration for me. So.
I mean, he had a phenomenal career as well. He went undefeated as well. But what did you like about Joe Kawasaki?
Just his like his background, obviously from Wales, down to earth guy, was out in the sticks pretty much, just training, and then look where he got to, unbelievable record, and was pretty much at the top, wasn't he? So yeah, he'll always go down in history. That's why, man, massive standout in my career, as an inspiration. So.
And just lastly, Frankie, before we end, if you could give one message to someone listening or to your fans or followers, what would it be?
I'd probably say don't get too wound up in the social media thing, man. Just if you're grinding away, just keep going. Don't be too fixed on the social media side of things. There's a lot of, I'm a victim of it as well. There's no rush for anything. There's too many people on Instagram. There's too many influencers. They're trying to rush the youth now for the big glitz, the cars, and the nice things. And just take your journey slow. Whether it's in your work, your hobby, or something that you're trying to do, just take things slow and just keep grinding away. Because things will come. If hard work always beats talent. Do you know what I mean? So.
Frankie, thank you so much for coming on this edition of the Hot Seat. I really appreciate you coming on, and it's been so amazing hearing your story from start all the way to how it's going, you know, and it's been very inspiring.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best going forward in your career.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you.
And I thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I would also really appreciate if you could like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.